You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
It's Wednesday night, time for the Paranormal Experience radio show with host Kat Hobson. Kick back, relax, and get ready to learn. Welcome to the show. Now, here's Kat.
Good evening and welcome to Paranormal Experienced Radio here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I am Kat Hobson, your host, and I have to tell you that I am very excited about a lot of things. Scarefest is one, the premiere of the Speak Brothers productions. I am even more excited about my guest tonight because, you know, in all the years that I've interviewed people, there's not a lot of people I would leave the beach for. This man is one of them. He is someone I met through a mutual friend, and we have become friends. We were just discussing that. He is a physical medium, and I'm going to tell you that I was not entirely clear in my understanding of exactly what John does. But he's brilliant. And I'm going to let him explain this to you so that you have a good grasp on it as well, because it's fascinating. It's good work. And he's a fascinating man. So please welcome John Blackburn. Hi.
Hello, Kat. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Well, good. I have to tell you that you have been sending me some links, and I have just been fascinated by them. I was listening to one of a show this afternoon, and finished it when I got home. And, you know, I have read about the Skulls experiment, obviously, for forever. And I did not realize that that program covered the time as well as the information that was there. Can you expand on that just a bit so that it was through that interview that I actually understood what it is that you do? It was so much more than I initially thought. So, yeah. Of course, now you're even more fascinating to me. So there's that.
To be honest with you, I mean, I've not achieved what the levels of what Robin Foy has achieved and the Skull experiment.
Has anybody really, though?
Oh, I know. That man is a wizard, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
And he did come to the States, didn't he? And NASA stood up and listened, which,
yes, they did.
Which was amazing, really. And as you heard on the interview, and to talk a little bit about physical mediumship, first of all, I've been practicing mediumship probably about, seriously, about maybe 15 years, something like that. And probably for the last 10 years, I've been sat in a mediumship circle, and it's pure mediumship technique, really. And that's kind of developed into a trance circle now, so it's just... trance is very, very deep, you know. It's some circles that I've been to in the past, they kind of concentrate on meditation, but you don't get a lot of the actual mediumship technique, which is what I wanted. And that's why I got involved in the circle where I am now.
May I interrupt
once you get involved in
John?
trance and once you get involved in physical mediumship, it does open a whole new world for you. And my thing about physical mediumship really is normal mediumship, and I always apologise about this because I am not being rude to anybody at all. It's just my view of this. There are some amazing spiritual mediums out there, and the thing I have a problem with, for me anyway, for psychic mediumship and spiritual mediumship, is that you're kind of telling people what's going on in your own mind. Does that make sense?
It does. But when we get to a point, I do have a question for you.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, it's okay, but I understand because I've researched things that I've read you do. But I have not, I don't know that all of the listeners have. When you say that you're part of a circle or various circles, I want to point out that that is you working to build your skills, to build your craft. But can you explain to them what a circle is?
Okay, a circle basically, when you join a circle, it's, as it sounds, it's a circle of people really, and it's referred to as sometimes development circles, and it's where people would go to develop their skills further. Everybody at the end of the day has got the ability to progress in, let's say, mediumship, because we've all got our senses at the end of the day.
Yes.
And for me, I'm clairsentient. I'm borderlining clairvoyant, and we all have these different clairs. So yourself, Kat, you may be clairsentient yourself. Most people are really. And then there's clairaudience, and that is an amazing gift where you can hear spirit talk. And then there's one amazing gift that quite a lot of mediums have, which I haven't. Well, I have once or twice, but it isn't all the time. And that's when you've got all the senses. So like you hear spirit,
yes,
and you feel spirit, and you see spirit. I always remember, I think I've mentioned this to you before actually, but I always remember being in the car with my sister quite a long time ago now. And I heard this conversation going on to such, it was very distracting whilst I was driving. And my sister was in the car, and my sister was speaking to me, and I was thinking, where's that conversation coming from, And I said to my sister Janice, I says, is the radio on in the car? And she said, no. And I said, can you hear that conversation? And she said, no. And that was actually on the way to a circle that I was going to in a place called Haywood in Greater Manchester. And it's only happened to me a couple of times where I can hear spirit. But like I say, I'm more clairsentient and more clairvoyant, really. It's, sorry.
Well, that's okay. I was just going to say that you are very good at what you do.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you.
You work very hard to do that, to be that level of medium. I just think that people should know that you are absolutely just terrific at the things that you do, and it is because you work very hard to be.
It's a passion, really. I'm very focused at what I do. I've always been like that, really. I've always been focused on things I want to achieve, and I'm always looking at doing things differently all the time and trying to achieve different things. And that's more for myself, really. Like a self satisfaction, really, of things that that I want to achieve. And the physical mediumship for me is one of those achievements, and it's one that I'm pushing more these days. It's one that I want to strive to achieve more. Like I said, I'm not at the level of your likes of your Robin Foyers and people.
He's been working a lot longer than you have.
He has indeed, yeah, and he doesn't consider himself as a physical medium, does he? He considers himself as a spiritual scientist, doesn't he?
Yes. I found
But
that
with a
interesting
physical
too.
music team. Yeah, me too. It was an interesting interview, that one. So just going back to the physical mediumship side again, but, for me, like I say, I'm not being rude to anybody, and like with spiritual mediums, clairvoyant mediums, if you like, and to much degree, I've done it myself, where you tell people what you can see. And like I say, there's some amazing clairvoyant mediums out there, and they can, you can provide the evidence of what they're telling people that they can see in the mind. But I have a problem with this, really, for myself, and that is, well, if I was telling somebody I could see a young boy stood over there dressed in workhouse clothes, from the 1800s, people have got to believe that because I'm telling it in my mind what I can
Right.
see. So what I want to do really is to make people feel things, and I want people to see things for themselves. And that's something you can provide with physical mediumship.
Yes.
Especially in deep trance situations where you're doing transfiguration, which is something that I'm working on quite a lot, really. And also using various tools which I've created myself, really, which is the conduction rope, which we spoke about before, haven't we?
Right.
And the conduction rope basically is a copper rope. I work a lot with copper because at the end of the day, it's a conductor. It's a conductor of energy at the end of the day, and that's why you have it around the home. In all the wires in the house and stuff, because it conducts the energy required for your sockets and your plugs and your lights.
Right.
So the human body generates 2 kilowatts of energy a day. It does that. So if you can harness that type of energy, and what I've done, I built many years ago now. I built a conduction rope which is like 15 foot long. It's made out of copper. It's got quartz crystals attached. Again, quartz crystals are a focus for energy itself. And the whole thing combined, I have people holding the rope in some of my demonstrations and some of the events that I've run. And 9 times out of 10, it's successful. And basically what it does is it moves on my command. The actual rope moves on my command.
I just find that so unusual to contemplate.
It's something you've got to see for yourself, really, because some people are skeptical about it until they actually get involved in it and they can feel the rope pulling themselves. I've done demonstrations where I've had the conduction rope, say, on one end of a room, and say like 10 people are holding the rope, and I've stood on the other side of the room and I've got the rope to come to me, which pulled the people along.
That blows me away. It does. I mean, and I know that's how it works, and it still blows me away.
Yeah, well, hopefully one day if you come to England, we can demonstrate it for you.
Well, if I come to England, I'm buying the first round and wherever you want to go, and then absolutely, I would love to see that.
Yeah. That's what we do, isn't it? When we're working, I always say this, and when we're working with spirit, when we're working with the paranormal, it's about the manipulation of energy at the end of the day,
Yes,
isn't it?
It is.
When you break it down, it is, and basically that's what I'm doing. I'm getting spirit energy to work with me to manipulate the way I want to work with it.
Well, you're very effective. And, you've actually taken that into all kinds of different areas. You just absolutely think there are no barriers as long as you're working. And I think that's just terrific.